right, welcome to the Shadow Report. I'm Jsmoove. With me, we have Double Rice No Bean and your commissioner, MadBomber. How you doing, guys?
Oh, good to be here.
Yep, good to be here. It's probably the first time a lot of you are hearing my voice, so I am Double Rice No Bean.
That's right, and I'm Bomber.
Yeah, Rice, you're a man of many names. DRNB, Rice,
DDNC, just a bunch of acronyms really.
DNC.
There's no
Any
If
any
real
that
ac-
isn't if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, I don't know what is.
At least not everyone in this league knows all of my
That's right.
acronyms yet. So I guess I'm double run no pass to these guys.
That's right.
Technically with
well,
my 31 out of 32 glitch, thanks EA.
there you go. This league also calls me Doink, even though they have no idea what I doinked or when I doinked. So
No clue why. You're just doing.
thanks, guys.
This is what changed your PSN at this point.
Yeah, I really should. All
Alright.
right. Get started. Let's tack this season we're at right now. Kind of this is really just the second or third podcast. Much I know Shane's got a thing he'll be coming out with shortly, but this is basically your second season. We're what are we week 8 right now, I believe.
I think we're week 7? Week 8? Yeah,
Week
you're right,
eight.
week
Week
8.
eight. Yep.
I had a bye. Or I have a bye.
So your week 8 shadow report. So let's dive into it. You guys want to start?
Yep, let's you want to start off with the hot starts?
Yeah. So let's look at some hot starts. We got who do we have? Couple teams really jump out as hot starting. You got the Bears in darkness sitting at, I believe they're
7 and 1.
7-1 now, yep.
They're 7-1. Seahawks and Noobs are 6-2, and we have the Broncos and Buster at 5-2, as well as the Dolphins and Timber at 5-2. Those are the four that jumped out at me. Can pick one of them, and we'll kind of play pretender or contender
Well,
with these hot starts, or
I
what's for
guess
real.
we can start with the Bears. I think he's the one of the few that made the playoffs last season. I think he's the only of the three, or only of the four. So we can get him out of the way real quick before we talk about some of these other guys.
I don't think anybody else made the playoffs. Denver didn't. Uh, he just
Seahawks.
gave everybody force wins at the end when he was done. Miami wasn't here, and Seattle didn't because he got his quarterback. So it was just darkness made it.
Yep.
7-1. He's had mostly computer games or force wins. Really unlucky with the schedule so far and other people's schedule. But I think he's for real.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with for real on this one. I watched his last game. I know it was a Chark dev game, and Chark made some incredible catches, typically how you see those dev games, but he did beat Doc, who a lot of us are familiar with, not as bad as his record shows at 1-6. So I think he got a win over him, and then he's also beat the Clank
Beat
was
me.
never mind. He has not played many
Beat
games
me.
at all. Wow.
Yeah, no, hasn't played many at all.
Wow.
But even just looking back at last season, he won a playoff game. He beat the Giants. He's won some games. So the schedule's been kind of unfriendly, but sitting at 7-1, and now he's got a much improved Bears team from where they were when he started. So I think he's going to make some noise and continue the hot start.
Absolutely. He beat me week 1 by multiple scores and has continued doing what he was doing last year with Justin Fields. Just last year with Justin Fields, he got a dev upgrade, was top 5 in the league, I think, in yards and touchdowns. Don't cite me on that, but it was good enough to get the dev bump. This year, he's got 24 touchdowns already, leading the league, and only 9 interceptions, which is he's got 3 more touchdowns than anyone else in the league. He's still moving the ball great. He's a good player, offense and defense. That game against Doc, he sealed by taking his user, booking across the field, and picking off an RPO seam route to Pitts in the end zone. So that was a bit of a sign of what he can do on defense. I think it continues. I think he's a team to watch out for in the NFC come playoff time.
Yeah, interestingly enough, his next game is actually our Duck Kings game against one of the other hot start players in the Dolphins. So maybe we can get some commentary on that one and see what's going on there.
I believe that's also the Duck Kings game of the week for week 9.
Yep. And then I guess that's a good transition into the Dolphins if we want to talk about him next.
So the Dolphins, he's sitting at 5-2. Now this is a new guy. We haven't seen much of him. At least not last season, but he's 5-2 is pretty good. He's in Clink's division, lost to Clink though, 35-24. His other loss was to the Steelers. So two losses early. I don't even know if it was him that played those games.
I don't think it
Um,
was. I could be completely wrong on that, but I don't think he played either of those games.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when he got in. Hasn't really had any big wins. I mean, the Texans, um, I won, so it's not like you blew them out. The Rams were a computer team at the time, I think. A Patriots guy, 24-7. That's a pretty big win over him. Jonesy, I don't know if Jonesy even
Yeah, I
played
think
that
that
game because
was.
he was gone for a while.
Yep.
So Dolphins, and then he's got the Bengals 35-21. I'm not sure how much he's played or haven't really seen much at him, but his defense is ranked fourth in the league. So, and then with a 13th ranked offense, I think we can at least think he's for real for a while. But that AFC East isn't going to be easy with Clink as the Bills coming back, and then you got D-Muse continuing to get better.
Yeah, never mind the AFC wildcard race. That was a bloodbath last season where we had multiple teams with winning records all duking it out, and it's only more competitive now this season with as we keep adding talent to the league and guys settle in with their teams.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the AFC playoff race right now, and you got EW was the playoff team last season. He's at 9. D-Muse is down there at 10. You don't even see QP anywhere on the top 10. And you got to think he's going to turn it around at some point, sitting at 3 and 4. So it'll be interesting to watch that playoff race in the AFC. I think the Dolphins could push for one of those spots, especially with this hot start.
Yeah, if I was just looking at the Dolphins' record and who they've played, I would have to say that they are definitely not worthy of this conversation. But the fact that I saw him, I think it was 35 nothing or so at half against the Bengals, and it seems like he took his foot off the gas there. It, hey, you have to be you have to be so good to get up 35 nothing against anyone, especially in this league. So I think he's going to be a real contender, but we will see how he does against the Bears next.
All right, moving on to Buster and the Broncos, sitting at 5-2. However, I know his next game or two will be without star quarterback Russell Wilson. So I'll let you guys tackle that one.
Yeah, he's a little different. So you got Seahawks sitting at 6-2. They beat him. Raiders beat him. That was Gouda by 3. If they played. That's the problem. A lot of the games have been getting force wind or computer fair sims. So I'm not sure who's played. I think he played the Colts week 1 and won.
Yep, they played that one.
Then he played the Chiefs. That may or may not have been a computer game, but that's another big win. Beating Figs by 3, not as big of a win. Then he got the 49ers 39-30.
Yeah, I think I put up 30-7 in the first half, and then let him score 32 on me unanswered. So there's that.
Yeah, he's obviously gotten a couple gameplay suspensions since he's been here. I know he's having a tough time maybe transitioning from the MUT world or competitive gaming or whatever it is. But you figure if he's good doing that, as soon as he can figure out how to adjust, those skills are going to translate over, and he's still going to be good. So I think the 5-2 is probably. I think he could be a contender. Don't see him beating out QP in the AFC West, but man, he's struggling over there at 3 and 4. So maybe this is Broncos' opportunity to take it, but I think he's a pretender for now. I think next cycle we're going to see him, regardless of what team he gets, do a lot better though, consistently.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He actually has QP this week, and he has QP again week 11. I think those two games will basically signify whether this 5-2 is for real or not. I 100% agree with you. I think you see him next cycle as we progress. We'll talk about this more later this podcast with moving into Madden 23. He's a guy I would definitely watch out for once he settles into kind of your more standard sim play and certainly do some things on the sticks.
Yeah, just talking about Madden 23, especially with him for a second. I think it'll be interesting to see where he does in the team draft. You know, he was talking about how much he loves Escape Artist, and then how good as Lamar Jackson is in another league, and the fact that it's gotten him in trouble, not once, maybe 3 times now. I wonder if he's gonna chase another ability like that, or if he's just gonna try and go somewhere. I think he's been saying he wants the Panthers, somewhere where he can just go and kind of lay low with abilities. So that'll be
Yeah,
interesting to
I
see.
mean that's probably a good choice if you know you have trouble, kind of containing yourself. Maybe you do stay away from one of those type teams.
Yep. And then who was the last one on our list here?
Seattle.
Seattle.
Weird.
Ugh.
Little
Seattle
weird.
just beat me twice. I guess I'll start this one just because I've played him the most as the 49ers. So he's definitely good, but for some reason, every time I get up on this guy, 21 nothing. I think the first time we played this season, and then this last one, I think it was like 14-7. I think I had the ball or something like that. And I just somehow always collapsed to him in the second half. So I don't know if it's just me that crumbles in the second half, hint it is, or if he's just amazing in the second half, but he's definitely for real, and I think he's going to take this division from me, especially with 2 division losses to him already. So I don't think there's very much room for me to come back, and I definitely expect to see him in playoffs.
I think those are big, obviously for the division. But then he ended up losing to D-Muse just this week, actually. And
Nothing
then
wrong with
he's
losing to
got
D-Muse.
no. I mean, D-Muse is the Jets, but I
Yeah.
guess he is the Seahawks. So he got his quarterback. He kept saying he needed to get his quarterback, and he finally got him. And we've seen a turnaround. Um, he doesn't have the easiest schedule going forward though. With UP week 10, Filthy in week 11. Jonesy in week 12. He'll have Aaron Rodgers back all before that. But then he's got the Saints, the computer game, Fig. Fink, week 16, not one to sleep on. Um, Doc will be week 17, and then Freight Train week 18. So it's not like an easy way through here, but I see a lot of winnable games, and I think he is for real.
So you tell me there's a chance I can catch him.
There's a chance, but it's shrinking every week though.
I have to win 3 more than he wins.
Yeah, so Noobs was a guy I was very surprised how much he struggled last season. Having been in primer with him before, having seen what he did, they're winning a bunch of games, he won a Super Bowl in that league. I thought at the very least he'd be a playoff team, and he really struggled last season. But this kind of goes to show what happens when you stick with it. Maybe you make one big change to your team. In this case, he brought in Castle Anderson, who now is just shattering the kind of league pace and touchdown interception ratio with second in the league in touchdowns and is easily the best in the league interception wise. He's 21-2 touchdown to interception. And he's been doing his thing. He's got a good user on defense, and he clearly can put up points with a couple of these games being over 30, 40 points. So I think he's for real. I think he's a team that I am looking forward to hopefully getting to face in the playoffs in what should be a good battle, but also, you don't necessarily want to see on the other side of the field.
One thing to pay attention to with him, though, his defense is ranked 21. So he does give up points. It'll be interesting to see if he can kind of lock that down, especially come playoff time.
Yeah, I think both the
sure,
games I played against him, it was like both like shootouts. So definitely he has to win the shootouts, and you know how those games go. As soon as you make one mistake on offense,
Yep.
or if you have a rookie QB that makes a bad throw, that could be the game. So it's gonna be something to be careful of there. I mean, I know this Thad Castle guy is pretty good, but all these rookies tend to have the rookie bug where they just throw it right at the defense, unexpected. So
Yeah, we're giving him a lot of credit with this Thad Castle, whatever his name is, quarterback. He's not actually that good. He's just playing really well. He's a 70 overall. None of his accuracies are above 80. Under pressure is 77. He's slow. His awareness is 62. He's not great statistical or what do you want to call it, rating wise attributes.
yeah,
He does have ideal force pass and average center pressure, so he doesn't have that paranoid or anything. But, I think that's what may hold him back. As great as that quarterback's playing right now, I could see one or two bad throws, especially in a close game against some of these better teams, and it could cost him.
yep, one throw, that's all it takes. And I guess with that, we can move into just talking about next cycle. We should probably timestamp this because we're probably going to get questions like this all off season. So we can just talk about our pre-cycle tournament ideas and then maybe our transition into Madden 23.
So I know we've been talking about it in the admin chat about some type of pre-cycle tournament, if for nothing else than to kind of let everybody get familiar with the game and the teams before we do a team draft. I love the idea. I guess you guys should talk to it more because you guys ran one for Primer, and from the sounds of it, it sounded like a really good idea.
Yeah, we actually had a good handful of primer guys, and we pulled in a couple random SML guys. This was kind of our first interactions with Faz before I doinked a field goal. That's where the doink comes from. But Basically, what we did is we grouped everyone into pools, kind of like the World Cup. Took I think we had 16 teams. So we did 4 pools of 4. You play each team in your pool. Winner from each pool, or winning 2, depending how many people we have overall, advance into a bracket style tournament. Then you just play through your bracket. For each to try out different teams, and so teams weren't chasing. Everyone wasn't taking the Chiefs or the Ravens last year. Basically, you did your classic head-to-head. You get 3 randoms and then a death. You can pick any team from the 3 randoms, or if you chance it, you then are stuck with that 4th team. That's basically what we did. We kept, play same rules, all that. Kept our rules intact, and that was pretty much the gist of it. And it was a smash success. So looking forward to that again this offseason.
That
Yeah,
sounds like a great idea.
yeah, that was definitely really fun. I mean, you got to try so many teams. Like every game, we almost played. Well, we had 5 in each group, so you had 4 games there, and then the guys that went on had additional games. So you got to try almost 6 unique teams, and I think that's one of the games that had me lock in on my Seahawks. I know I put 69 up on Dark. I just had to put that out there,
Nice.
remind him of that one. So and then I took the Seahawks in primer, and then almost got suspended. So yeah, you guys can find which teams you want to break the rules with.
Here you go.
All right. And then I guess we can head into our little off-season plans from there. So basically, once the game comes out, we're gonna make sure everyone pretty much. I mean, Bomber, this would be your call, but I feel like we're gonna try and get stuff started the day the game actually comes out. I don't know if we're gonna be waiting on guys 3 days after the game comes out to get the game before we're trying to do team drafts and stuff like that. I feel like we're gonna
Yeah,
try and get this started.
I would think the team draft will probably. Oh, that won't be first day or
Yeah,
2 days, 3 days. Um, Probably do the tournament, and I think that buys us. I mean, I don't know what you guys did last time, but I'd imagine that buys us almost a week.
yeah, that's I'd say it's about a week, maybe a little more. I mean, games in the groups, you're just kind of like, hey, everyone play your game. So everyone will have 3 or 4 games that they have to play, and they fit them in as they can. So it's not really you don't have to wait for other people to play in order to advance,
Yeah,
I
so you
guess.
can knock out all your
Yeah.
games. So I would imagine that'll buy us probably about a week. That gives us time to um, get everything set up for a team draft. It gives us time to go ahead and um, maybe some people, whether it's the admin team or just some other people throughout the league that maybe volunteer to help, but we can run through a couple, practice franchises just to see what may be some bugs and if there's anything we need to worry
Well,
about.
we have something for that as well that we kind of ran informally last year as well. So we called it the Speed League. Basically,
Okay, yeah.
we picked a random team, and then instead of like getting to try out teams, what we did is we simmed a fantasy draft. Basically, I say I was the Vikings, then we simmed a fantasy draft. I got all these random players. I've actually won the whole thing with the Ravens, and he had freaking Tom Brady and all sorts of random people.
That's
And then
why
what
you
we
want to throw
did,
that in. Okay.
yeah. But what we did then is just like advance was basically every 24 hours we would advance. There was no care. It was no one just was like, oh, I didn't get my game. This is a big deal. Like no, it's just
Yeah.
trying to play through, get comfortable with the game, comfortable with new random players, get comfortable with some of the franchise machinations and some of the new things they'd added to franchise and whatnot. Basically, just ripping through a week each day.
Yeah, so I figured between the tournament and then doing that, I would imagine at least a week before we do the team draft. And if nothing else, it gives other leagues a chance to jump into it early, and then we can see what their kind of downfalls or pitfalls, I guess, are by starting early before a patch that I'm sure EA is going to tell you have to wait for. Um, but I would think a week. It may be later. We'll just see kind of how the off season's going and how everybody feels. If everybody was ready to start and just chomping at the bit to get started, then maybe we get started earlier. But I would imagine at least a week from when the game drops.
That'll give you people time to test the new game, test some new teams, and B, it'll give time for people to put out team predictions, put out some content, and that kind of week of build up and hype.
So I can get a quote
Absolutely.
from you here saying that we're not going to wait 2 months for a scouting update.
We are not waiting 2 months for anything.
Okay, got it. Just wanted to get that down. Because we know everyone's going to be asking as soon as EA unleashes some new scouting feature. We're going to have people asking.
Not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah.
We watched all those leagues that waited last cycle for the scouting update only to be just let down by really just a half-assed garbage update.
Yeah, made the game actively worse, and then they
Yeah, that
ruined
actually made it
it.
worse. So, um, yeah, we won't be waiting for something like that.
Gotcha. All right. Is there anything else we want to cover? I feel like this is just a
Uh,
quick little mid-season rundown of our plans in the future, but
I think we've hit everything we had
I
planned.
think we're good. I'm gonna hold you here for 1 sec with give me your Super Bowl prediction from each conference. Who makes it? Who wins it? We got
do you want me to
Let's
go
see.
first?
sure.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take Faz 100% in the AFC. I think a lot of the AFC contenders that I know of right now have mentally checked out of Madden 22. I feel like Q, I don't know what he's doing in Madden 22. I feel like he's 3 and 4. I mean, we always know that he says he doesn't really start caring until playoffs start, but right now I don't even know that he's in playoffs. So we'll see how that goes. Bomber, he is all on Madden 23. This
Oh
dude's
yeah,
got a vacation coming up towards the end of the month, or 2 months from now, rather. He's got plenty of other stuff going on right now. He does not care about Madden 22. He's gonna give it his all, but I don't
yeah.
think he's
I'm not
mentally.
gonna mail it in. But
Yeah, he's not. I don't think you're gonna be going into the playbook making changes. Whereas Faz, I think he's still doing that. I think he's just out to prove something. I don't know to who, but I think Faz is just gonna keep trying as hard as he can. and then
absolutely.
and then in the NFC, I'm gonna go with my buddy the Giants. Just love his stream, so I'm gonna have to give him. I just think what he's doing with the
No.
team, I think he can do it. I think he just knows what he's doing a lot of the time. I feel like he's a little unfamiliar with the rules. I feel like he's checking every once and again. I feel like it takes his mind off the game, and that's when you see big plays in his streams. Whenever he's talking about, oh, can I go for this? And then he ends up not going for it and realizing he can. Then he's talking about, oh, I should have went for it, and he gives up a big 75-yard touchdown. So I think once he gets a little more familiar with the rules, I think he's gonna start doing a little bit better. I think he's gonna have an easy road to the playoffs in that division. So I think that's a safe bet, and I could definitely see him winning the conference. I think he's only 1 game behind right now, and Bears has only played 1 game. So I definitely think he can still win the conference, and that's my Super Bowl prediction.
All right, so I don't like to pick myself, so I'm gonna go with Faz as well in the AFC. He's also sitting there undefeated. We've actually got a game, I think week 16. It's towards the end of the season we play.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, I'll pick Faz. He's clearly figured out that Jaguars team as far. Um, so that's my AFC team. But NFC, I took the Giants in the preseason. Then he comes out and he's dropped 2 straight. But they were both good teams. He lost to the Colts and he lost to the 49ers. It's not like he's had bad losses, but he doesn't really have any good wins either. Texans, Titans, Cowboys, um, Packers, which was probably computer, and then the Lions, which was definitely computer.
That was the one that the
So
guy got kicked out of.
that's right. Yeah. No, so it wasn't a computer. It was worse. It was a mutt game.
Yep.
But you said he's got probably that division locked up. His next 3 of his next 4 games: Jaguars, Ravens, Bears.
Oof.
Oof.
He's got a tough one. He's got a Washington football team kind of tucked in there in week 11. He's also got a bye in week 10. But the next 2 games are Jaguars, Ravens. So 2 undefeated teams. Goes back from his bye, gets Washington, and then the Bears. Outside of that, he actually finishes it fairly easy. He's got the Eagles, Cowboys, Vikings will be tough in 15, and then he's got Washington, the Panthers, and the Eagles. Went with him preseason. I think I'm going to go with Seattle.
Okay.
I like it.
Just because Seattle is he's got his quarterback. Man, that's tough actually. But I'm going to go with Seattle though. I'm going to stick it out. He's playing too well with him, even with that 70 overall quarterback. I think
Yeah, I
his
think
morale will
there's
get high enough to where he makes up for those ratings. So I'm going to take a Jacksonville, Seattle with Jacksonville winning it.
good choice. The NFC is so wide open. There really are 6 or 7 teams that I think are all in that same tier of player. Obviously, you have a little bit of a difference in rosters going from the Bucks to the Bears and whatnot. But I'm gonna stick with my NFC North bud here. I think Dark continues to put it together. He's just slaughtering the point differential right now. 32 per game and only 14 allowed. playing great ball. I know a lot of those are CPU games, but he looked great against me. Fields is getting better. Oh, his running back has evasive now. And that defense is 5 times, 10 times better than it was last season. He won a playoff game. I think Dark comes out of the NFC. And in the AFC, I think you keep doing your thing, Bomber. I think Lamar Jackson is too much. I think that defense is loaded, and I don't think Faz is able to get over the football Jesus hump. Plus, it's summer. I hear he has a girlfriend now, and he's going to Phillies games left and right, just soaking in the sun and watching baseball. So I think I got you winning this one.
I didn't know about the girlfriend thing. Can I change my?
Yeah. He's not dumb.
Not
One thing
that
I will
anyone
say
here
about the
knows who that
Giants
is.
guy, I picked the Giants guy early in the season. Like I said, he lost the 2 games, and you kind of brought up how he gets distracted. He's talking to Chad, he's checking rules, doing all this. He gets into the playoffs, which he should. Then we get commentated games where he doesn't have to do commentary for his own games. Could change that, and he could play a lot better.
Honestly, the way of the kind of person he is, I think he'll play worse whenever he's not.
That's possible too.
Whenever he's not screaming and stuff. I feel like him talking, going through all of his everything inside of his head, almost like reaffirms, make sure that it makes sense before he does things, because he's trying to talk to chat. So I think if he's sitting there quiet, I think he's gonna be out of his element. And honestly,
Nobody
that
said
could
he's
change
sitting there
my-
quiet. He may
No,
still do
You're not
everything.
wrong. You're not
He doesn't
wrong.
have to check chat, and he doesn't have to check the
Yeah,
rules.
you're right. He can still scream. You're right.
Yeah, he can
He
still
just turned his
scream all he
mic
wants.
off whenever we're commentating over his game. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm staying
Bomber.
with my pick.
Bomber, when you play games that are commentated and you're not doing the voice chat stream, you're still yelling "come on" at the TV, right?
Well, absolutely, yeah. Nothing changes there. I'm just don't look at chat and have to interact with everybody there.
It's not broadcast.
So all that stuff he'll get to keep, and I think I think you're right. I'm sure that does help him in some way.
Might have to
But
start.
yeah, but not having to look at chat would,
Yeah.
I think, make him focus more. So he could be my upset. He's my dark horse for the NFC, but I'm going with Seattle from what I've seen so far.
Well, all right. I think that's probably it for our just little mid-season recaps. Probably look to get evals out probably within a week or 2 here, just before the end of the season. So I think that's it.
Yep, that's the Shadow Report.